Since
Well, maybe I'll go second.
that would be cruel, I think. So, Alan, show Stacy how it's Amy how it's done.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Stacy.
You do not want to follow my lead.
It's very difficult.
Okay, but I would do my best. Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Winnicott. I am the co-owner and founder of Sales and Winnicott Communications. We are a public relations, social media, and digital marketing firm. We started in 2003, so we're almost at our 20th anniversary. We started, of course, as a traditional PR firm because there was no social media. So it was all about getting stories in newspapers, TV, magazines, old school PR. And of course, over the years, our business model has evolved quite dramatically. And so social media became a huge part of our business. And we manage social media for most of our clients. And we work with a lot of startups. So we actually, it's really turnkey for them. We build their social pages, we do paid campaigns, we engage with their followers, we create content. But it's very interesting because in spite of the fact that the market seems to have completely changed over these many years, clients still want that traditional earned PR. They still want to get articles in newspapers, even though newspapers seem to be going away. Clients still want that. So we do both. And they work, the two main aspects of our business work very well together. The PR and the social, because we can promote them, and whatever we get, we can promote them on social. And then, of course, content marketing, influencer marketing, paid campaigns. We do all of that. We also help clients build their websites. We're not developers, but we create content and we provide brand strategy for our clients, which is obviously critically important to help them figure out who they are, what they want to say. And our verticals are in a variety of businesses. We do a lot of media and entertainment. That's a big part of what we do. Media across all platforms, everything from podcasts to TV shows to books. We work on consumer products. We do some food and beverage work. And then there are sort of random one-off clients, like work with a couple of attorneys. So we're generalists. But I would say that media and entertainment is where we really have our focus. We work a lot in the children's media space, children and content and companies for children and parents. And we also, as I mentioned, work with a lot of startups. We love working with startups and entrepreneurs. I mean, that's a huge part of our business, people who are just getting off the ground. I love entrepreneurs because I'm one, as all are you. So I really like helping companies build their business and achieve their business objectives.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't time you, but doesn't matter. We'll do about 2.5 minutes. Amy,
I can go next.
Yeah.
I might as well. Thank you, Alan. That was good. My name is Amy Gideon, and Stacy invited me here. Thank you again, Stacy. I own or co-own Tag Online. And Tag Online is a, whoops, sorry, my video went weird because I was going to bring up a little, I know we only have 2.5 minutes, but okay. There we go. I have a little virtual background. So Tag Online, what we do is we do 3 things. Web design, web programming, and web hosting. So we do development. We have about over 400 customers. We're located in Clifton, New Jersey. We're a 6-person company, and we've been doing websites for 25 years, for over 25 years. And if you go to our website, tagonline.com, you could see all about us. We do nonprofits. We do several industries. We recently did a plastic manufacturing company, and Stacy and I are looking to partner and possibly work together on legal entities and law firms. We do the New York Women's Bar Association. They have 800 members. We are in New Jersey, so we're located near Montclair, New Jersey. So we just got the Van Vleck Gardens, which is very pretty in Montclair, New Jersey, if anybody's familiar with the area. And I own a company with my husband. And just a little trivia before I end, TAG is an acronym, and it stands for Tucker and Gideon. And my maiden name is Tucker, or was Tucker. I'm using Amy Gideon now. So when my husband and I created the company, we thought of TAG, which is kind of fortuitous because in web development, you use tags to create a website. So that is my spiel, and I'm happy to be here and look forward to learning about everybody else's business.
Thank you. And I met Valerie, who used to work for you many years ago. I know she moved on, right? Valerie.
Yeah.
Take-
Well, Blau,
Paik,
now she's
Paik.
married. Well, it was Pack,
Pack.
but she's married and she has a newborn baby, a 6-month-old born boy, and she's working, like I said, at NJ Pack, and she was with our company for 17 years, and
Wow.
we're very good friends. We actually just went for a really long walk with her on Saturday, so it's nice.
Okay, thank you. Next up would be Stacy, then Rochelle, then Faith. Stacy, you're up. You're on. I put everybody on mute because I have it on, what do they call it? One of the profile view. So the person who's speaking shows up.
Okay. My name is Stacy Mathis, and I own a website called Legal Copywriting Central. We write marketing copy for lawyers as well as for companies that sell goods and services to lawyers. And I guess the best way to describe what we do is, we take our shoes off and we set them aside, and then we put our clients' prospects' shoes on and we walk around in their lives. And we can do this from a week to a month and get a feel for what it is that makes them, what they're concerned about and why they're taking Xanax and can't sleep at night, and get a feel for what really is causing the havoc, or what led them to the attorney, or led the attorney to look for the product that he's looking to purchase. And then we look at your competitors and we like to see what they say about themselves. And then finally, we look at you. We look at you before Harvard. We look at you before the Bar Association became something in your lives. And we try to figure out what's incentivizing you, and not the canned response you tell everybody else, what really motivates you. And then we take all of this information and we come up with copy that speaks specifically to the audience you are trying to market to. And the copy is written in such a way that it makes your competitor's copy look generic, because because we've been a fly on the wall in their lives for a week to a month, we kind of get what is really causing the stress in their lives, and we speak to that. And the other thing is, we're not general copywriters. You can't read about the legal industry and write to its customers. You have to really understand the nuances, because you've used the case management software the lawyer is looking to buy, or you've spoken to the client and listened to their cries day in and day out. You have an understanding from an insider's perspective that a general copywriter doesn't have. So we take all of that, like I said, and we write copy that really resonates in a way that most attorneys' pages, we like to think, does not. And that's pretty much it. Stacy, Legal Copywriting Central. Thank you.
Okay, perfect timing. You didn't hear it, but the bell went off exactly as you wound up. Okay, Rochelle, then Faith, then Mark. Rochelle, you're up. You're probably on mute.
Okay. I just find that so many businesses have a very rough time discussing their businesses in a charismatic, compelling way. They are beyond boring, long-winded. They go off on a tangent, like what the hell are they talking about? And very often it's all about themselves. So if I hear one more person say, my name is John Smith, I'm located in Midtown Manhattan, I've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, like, I can cry. It's just, I feel like sometimes I would love to give somebody a summons, because they've tortured me with these long-winded, pretty pathetic presentations. So I've got a program coming up next month, and it's called the Ultimate Power Pitch. And it's going to be a 6-week first time that I'm doing an online virtual program. It'll be 6 weeks where I will really create these ultimate power pitches for the individuals. And there's 3 parts to a pitch. The first one is compel. It's called catch. Are you catching someone's attention? Then it's compel. And then at the end, it's a call to action. So if you're interested in finding out about if this could be a great fit for you, give me a call. And it's Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth and not Schlep Along Business Growth. The other area that I've been working on recently is pricing. I find that a lot of my clients give what I call, their Saks Fifth Avenue extraordinary skill set, and they're charging Macy's. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with that? So they're not able to articulate what they do in a monetary way. So therefore, they're not getting the numbers that they're reaching for. I'm working with a non-for-profit, and I told him he's got to triple his rates. And if he loses 40% of his business, he's still ahead of the game. So guess what he did? He tripled his rates. And he's doing like he calls me up, and it's like we're both sitting there singing glory, glory, hallelujah. So again, are you charging enough? And do you have the chutzpah to really charge enough? So let's have a conversation around that.
Thank you. Okay. And I see in the background, catch, compel, call. 1, 2, 3. Very simple.
You got
And
it.
that is not a virtual background. Okay.
I
Faith.
still do my training, the old fashioned way, interactive.
Exactly. Well placed. Okay. So it would be Faith, then Mark, then Rafi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Hi, okay, I'm Faith Thomases. If you noticed, I just relocated to my basement because I got a tornado warning on the phone. I'm in Wilmington, Delaware.
Faith, I might have hit mute on you. I'm sorry. You're muted.
All right, did you hear anything I said?
I heard Wilmington, Delaware.
All right, well, I've just relocated while this meeting's going on to the basement because I just got a tornado warning on my phone and it said, please seek shelter. So if I get blocked out or if something happens, please call 911 for me. And anyway, I am a brand strategist and writer, and I work with small clients and large clients, and particularly with agencies as a supplementary resource, doing copywriting, name development, and any kind of planning that goes into marketing communications programs, as well as logo design and package design, brand design. And I'm a solopreneur. I've got a wide range of experience from consumer packaged goods to sports to financial services. I'd like to talk to you, Amy, about what your needs are, because I do websites, brochures, anything really. I've just actually gotten some resume writing projects, which is a nice niche to have. And I'll post my website on the chat, and the name development is one of my niches because my strength is really hitting the nail on the head. Actually, I call myself on point marketing communications, and I get to the point very quickly and succinctly and can often write faster than the client so that they can sell or run the business. So glad to meet everyone. And it's pouring buckets here. I don't know what it's going on in New York, but there are tornado warnings and flash flood warnings. So, but I'm still here.
Don't see any leakage from the ceiling or anything.
Not yet.
So far, so good.
On the rug.
If folks want to put their either their website or their LinkedIn in the chat, that would be great. Also, of course, I do post this on YouTube, usually a couple days after the meeting, and that link is always in my in the newsletter. So thank you, Faith. Mark, you are up.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Mark Thibault, Growth Strategy Advisors, and what I basically do is pre-branding. So I don't do anything with branding, but I do a lot with positioning and market segmentation and customer analysis and competitor analysis. And I also like to do customer journey assessment and really, that's what I do. I do it mainly for private equity groups. But I also have individual clients. And I also teach. I teach at WVU online. I teach SEO and web analytics. That's what I do. Short and sweet.
Okay, short and sweet. And you're based in South Florida. Did you get hit at all with the latest?
No, not with this most recent one. Thank goodness. I'm glad, I'm
You
glad
get your
it
fair,
wasn't
you
in
get your fair
Louisiana.
share. All right, thank you, Mark. Rafi, tell us what you're up to, and you're gonna have to take yourself off mute.
Okay. Rafi Salem Global Digital Marketing since 1997. So Amy beat me out by a couple of years, but she and I worked on some projects in the late 90s or early 2000s. So it's been a while. We started out building websites, but then we realized that we suck at it. So we stopped building websites. But where we really found our niche was in digital marketing and lead generation. So I became an expert in search engine optimization. I also taught at Pace University for a number of years. And our four main buckets of services are reputation management. As you can see, this is Google hurting you or helping you. And that involves search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, and social media advertising. Our top clients or our top niches are the financial industry, the real estate industry, and the healthcare industry. When I say healthcare, doctors, dentists are probably our most profitable clientele, wealth managers in the financial district, and then small real estate companies, not big ones. We're not looking for the big ones. We're looking for the small independent ones. And the way that we get to them is we partner with IT companies. So I have partnered with about 15 to 20 different IT companies throughout the country. We basically work together because they are the first people that the business owner will ask, hey, do you know anyone that can help us with our online presence and lead generation? Thank you. Nice to all meet you.
Okay, thank you. And welcome back. If you haven't, by the way, if anybody here who is a member, I guess it's all except for Amy, hasn't filled out their profile on the site, one of the things that you can do is indicate up to 3 areas of industry specialty. Rafi, certainly there's real estate, there's finance, and there's health and wellness. So I don't know if you have that on your profile, but easy enough to do. If you have any, if you can go to the help menu if you have questions. Okay, Bryce, then James, then Ken. Bryce, you are up.
Hey everybody, good to see you all again. My name is Bryce. I'm the Google Cowboy. So I do a lot of work for companies in various capacities, but the main one that I do right now is SEO. We also have a pretty robust suite of AIs that do a variety of things, including writing some pretty powerful AI content and some various other things. But what I want to talk about today is one of our flagship products called News SEO. There's a couple SEO people here today, so maybe they will appreciate this. So I'm just going to briefly share my screen here. So a normal SEO company, and our client is Hush City here. So a normal SEO company will just say, hey, we'll get you #1, which is totally cool. If you can do that, that's fantastic, because a lot of companies can't. But what's really cool about this system is what happens is we put this content that's created by the client out to 400 different news sites across the internet. And so what happens over time is, if you do this often enough, is that you actually take over the front page of Google. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different positions in the front page of Google. That's all about the client. So if I click on one of these, it's just basically a news article. It says a little bit about them, gives a backlink. And what happens, other than taking over the front page of Google, is you have a whole bunch of really good content about the site. So we're actually doing this for some pretty large clients because they want to raise the ticker value, right? So the more good press, the more people hear good stuff about your company. Hey, I see these guys everywhere. Maybe I want to invest. Drives up the stock value. So it's been really effective in a couple different ways, both in PR and the SEO side of things for some of our clients. We do have some other stuff, but that's kind of one of the cool things that we do. So yeah, that's it
Thank
for me.
you. And you spoke with, did you get a chance to follow up with David Libby? from
Yeah.
last week?
Yep. Yeah. He was
Wonderful.
really interested in that and Ad Cannibal. And he has a bunch of big corporate clients that he's going to introduce me to. So I actually have a call with him tomorrow about it.
Wonderful. And I like the new background,
Yeah, I finally got this is actually a screen back here somewhere.
the green screen. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Let's see. Who did I say was next? That would be James, then Ken. James, you're up.
Good afternoon. James Heaton from Tronvig. We are a brand strategy and management consulting firm. Today I'll start with Michael Porter's definition of strategy. To paraphrase, strategy is differentiated market position backed up by operational practice. So you can differentiate all you want. If it's not backed up by your operational practice and organizational behavior, it's bullshit. And it will be proven as such or occupied by someone else who can say the same thing without actually doing anything about it, just like you can. So when we talk about branding, we're not just talking about how you look, but also how you behave operationally, organizationally, and how that's tied to your business plan so that you can actually live up to and fulfill whatever brand promise you make. And recently, a really interesting aspect of this is ESG. Has everybody heard of ESG? ESG is a measurement criteria that is being more broadly applied in investment situations where they're looking at not only the company's financial performance, but their performance in the environment, their performance in their social responsibility, and the performance in terms of governance, like whether they have a diverse leadership. And if you're familiar with how our financial system works, the largest investor type in the economy are pension funds. Pension funds own more as a percentage of equities than any other type of business. And they are increasingly demanding higher ESG scores. So if you're going to make an espousal that relates to either the environment or your social sort of commitments or governance, you've got to figure out how to operationally deliver on that promise, and that this is now tied to your bottom line and will be increasingly tied to your bottom line going forward. So one of the things that we do is to help tie that together, because in a lot of instances, the CEO is saying, well, yeah, well, we want to do this, but how do we actually connect that to operations? How do we connect that to our business plan? And there's a gap and a lot of confusion about how to actually make these things real as opposed to just some public proclamation. So this is another aspect of brand. This is deep and difficult work. It's the kind of stuff that we love to do. Our verticals are financial, education, culture and the arts, and also nonprofit healthcare. So traditionally, we work with companies that are generally in the 100 to 1,000 employee range. But when we're dealing with this ESG work, it's actually a sort of a category above that is typically going to want that. So you're sort of stepping up into publicly traded companies.
That's great. Is that a new thing?
So
for
that
you?
is a new realization based on this kind of that meta situation that I just outlined. It's a very interesting thing that sort of leverages one of our pre-existing natural talents and would allow us to work with essentially a larger client.
Very cool. Thank you very much, James. Okay, Ken, you're up. And then I think it's me. Ken, you still with us?
No, I'm here. Sorry. Ken Simon, KBS Marketing. I do strategic marketing, working with companies to help them understand why, what their customers are looking for and how to best reach them, with what strategies to reach them with, whether it be campaigns, what type of campaigns, online, offline, what markets to enter, what content to use, looking, helping them understand who their customers are and how to reach them. I work with B2B companies mostly, helping them understand why their campaigns aren't working. I work with financial service type companies, fintech companies, technology-based companies, as well as manufacturers in the small to mid-size marketplace. That's it in a nutshell right now. It's funny when you have tag management. It was like I just was like taking a course today on Google Tag Manager, so it's trying to figure that all out. But anyway,
In your head, huh?
yeah.
All right. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. So I will go and I'll put my timer on. My name is Michael Bendit. My company is Software Development Resources, and I am an independent rep for about 10 different teams that are boutique software development teams. So they focus on the technical side of delivering a website, a mobile application, an e-commerce site. And we do a lot of partnering with digital agencies that don't necessarily have the resources in-house to do that. Recently got a call from a prospect. It's a startup. They're a technical startup. They've got a social media marketing management tool. So I guess SMMT. And they intend to be launching it soon. And their CTO, who is obviously very technical, wanted to make sure that their website would perform extremely well on what they call a lighthouse score, which is a sort of a measure of speed and performance in terms of how quickly it loads and how well it responds in a different environments in terms of mobile, desktop, etc. And so therefore they didn't want the standard WordPress approach to it, and asked me, if any of my teams could handle that. And I do have a team that does WordPress work, but they also do custom programming. And we came back with a solution or an approach that we're still talking about, but which, for the most part, eliminates the dead weight that a large content management system like WordPress can bring if that's the way the pages are actually presented. So that's the level of technical detail we get into with our clients. They come to us because they have some special need that they can't necessarily fulfill themselves, either with their own staff or with, they don't want to go looking for the organization that might have the specialty. They come to me, and I have the teams. I represent about 10 teams, as I said, and can choose the one that is best suited for the application. We work a lot, as I mentioned, with marketing agencies and startups. And most of what we do is the content management systems, mobile applications, and e-commerce sites, but we also have some specialties in a few other areas. So that's my time. Did anybody, and I will go back to the gallery mode, did anybody enter in chat anything they wanted to discuss while we still have some time? I don't see anything in chat as a topic of discussion. But
there was actually something that I'm kind of interested in everybody's opinion on.
If anyone wants to discuss with me, marketer appointment, that one? No.
No. That's my scheduler. There's a lot of big changes happening in the economy, right? And as marketers, we get to deal with a lot of different types of people. So the thing that and this is actually something that applies to my company as well. We're actually employing VAs quite a bit for a lot of the labor. because of how the economy changes, there's basically two types of jobs now, right? Jobs that you have to physically be there to do and everything else, right? And one of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize they're competing with is everybody else on the goddamn planet now. Because if you can do something from home, so can anybody else, right? And so the question to the group is, how is that disruption in labor affecting your business? So as I was mentioning, and just to give you an example to kick off the discussion, we use VAs extensively because it's just far more efficient. Here's an SOP, go do this a million times, and it's far cheaper to pay somebody $5 an hour from the Philippines than to hire somebody for $30 an hour to train them, right? So that's kind of what I'd like to know for you guys is how are VAs affecting the business, both in what you're providing and the business of your clients?
Yeah, I'll chime in there. So I think it goes beyond just virtual assistants, which I think you meant by VAs, correct? For clerical work. My business, or many of my teams, are either offshore or dual shore teams, and they've got great skills. In certain countries around the world, they have really great talent, programming talent. You just have to find it and make sure that it is in fact a good team. And so that's part of my business model, is when clients want to, don't want to pay $150 an hour, which, $100 to $150 an hour is a pretty common rate for domestic programming resources. Then, I'll work with them, with one of my offshore or dual shore teams. Of course, if it's a dual shore team, then you have some people here as well. And so the cost is not as low as it would be if you went directly offshore, but you avoid the headaches. So I think it's sort of becoming part of our economy, an integrated part of our economy. But, what I bring to the table, and what a lot of my teams who are domestic or have some domestic resources bring to the table, is that ability to communicate well with the client, understand their needs, meet with them, build that relationship. It's the client interface that makes a difference.
And I'll chime in too. I mean, we do charge $150 an hour but we have a staff. We do have full-time employees. We're a 6-person company. And I do like it that way because I sometimes find virtual assistants can be a little flaky, or they're busy, or they're working on something else, or they don't communicate, and the time difference, I don't like that. Our clients like to call and get us on the phone. However, recently we had an employee, she was with our company 21 years. I love her dearly. She's a good friend of mine, but she moved on. And she has a new job. She's very happy with it. So I outsourced the accounting portion. So she was a full-time employee. Now I have an accounting person who does a little virtual assistant stuff for this, but mostly like collections and things. And she's just, doing about 12 hours a month versus thousands of dollars that I was paying a full-time employee. So it's not just for the programming, like, Mike was talking about, it's for other business, not, that people are using virtual assistants. So I think they have its place, and I think it's great, but I also think there's value to getting the same person all the time. I mean, our clients love to speak directly to my developers, and they do a lot of project management without me, so I can do other things.
Rochelle, chime in. No need to raise your hand. You're on mute, by the way.
I just think here's where a lot with consultants come in, because I work with, a various range of groups of companies. So I think a lot of, let's just say it's a smaller company. They've got like 5 or 6 employees, maybe up to 10. They want to get out there. They want to do some marketing. They don't have the money to have it. First of all, they don't have the money, and they don't have the need for a full-time marketer. So they'll, that's where consultants come in. They'll bring in a company and they'll say, do this, take care of my email marketing. They'll pay the consultant rate. They don't. And here's the other thing. A lot of companies are looking at, what can I bring somebody in for that I don't need full time? And also, I don't have to get hooked into paying benefits. So it's one thing to have a salary. You can have a salary of whatever your salary is. Then you have to go at least 20 to 25% above that when you're dealing with a whole package. So you got to realize, from a perspective of an employee, you've got to really be claiming your value to the company that they want to take on that overhead. So I find that a lot of my companies, I bring in a lot of consultants in different areas, like bookkeeping's a biggie. A lot of my clients are smaller. They don't need a full-time bookkeeper. So I work with a couple of people and they just do all the accounting work and they're incredibly happy. I do that as well for marketing. I'm trying to think of what else I do it with. I mean, offhand, there's a lot of other areas that might come up that we can just bring in a consultant. They'll do it as either project-based, only one project, or they'll do it 10 hours a month or what as needed. So you don't have that overhead. And a lot of my clients prefer working with consultants locally versus VAs overseas. Again, you're running into the language issues. If it doesn't need culture, if you don't have to understand the nuance of a culture, that's great. But if you are doing marketing, let's just say, and somebody's writing something from an overseas place, they don't get the culture of New York. If let's say your client base, they can write something, but they don't understand the culture and the nuance. And I think what we need to understand, like, what's the nuance that's needed in the situation. So if it's somebody that just does technical stuff and that's not needed, then outsourcing is brilliant. If you don't have a time frame, you don't have a timeline, and you don't have what I would call a demanding, micromanaging lunatic client that wants you to call them back before they even completed their text message. So if you have a couple of those, then you're fine. But if you have what I would consider a very typical New Yorker who has, they want the on the demand, I think that if we can work locally, I think you don't need a salary, but you do need consultants. That's just my thought. I think that as we move forward, a lot of companies are going to bring in a hell of a lot more consultants, so they don't need to have as much payroll. And also, when you have a lot of payroll, if you're trying to, let's just say, sell your company, if you've got a lot of payroll, people are a little reluctant. They like having nice profit, low payroll. They don't care that it's coming in on, consultants, but the numbers look sexier in a particular thing, depending on the stage of your business and what you want to do with it.
Stacy, you had something to add. You're on mute, Stacy.
To Rochelle's point about culture, there's also like this phenomenon I'm noticing that there are a lot of Americans who are moving overseas. My press release writer is from Long Island. She now lives in South Korea. There is another one of the attorneys who writes for me. She used to live in Chicago. She now lives in Columbia, the country Columbia. And because she lives overseas, the cost of living is cheaper. So she's cheaper. We're still on the same wavelength. She still understands the nuances, culture, and all this other stuff. But, but she's priced according to where she lives. So that's something to consider as well. There are a lot of Americans who are opting to live overseas, and they will charge you according to their cost of living there.
Also, I assume there's a lot of remote work, even if they are Americans, they might be, all over the country. Alan, you were going to say something.
Take this a little bit in a different direction. In my business, I need employees because my employees, my clients want to work with people that they, as the same expression goes, know, I can trust. And so it's a very much a relationship and trust business where in PR, you can't always guarantee results. So what you have to do is guarantee that client service. And that builds up over a matter of time. So we're not in a position to hire consultants who come and go. But what this conversation has made me think about, and that's why I say I want to go in a little bit different direction. I don't know if anybody else who has employees has experienced this. But I guess because of the market, and also, everybody on this call has a certain amount of experience. I'm finding a lot of the young people that I hire, they have no sense of commitment to a job. I've had people now leave after only a few months, which completely defeats what I just said, trying to build that long-term relationship and that trust, because every time somebody goes, you can hear the client say, "Oh, okay, I hope we get somebody, that we can retrain again." And it's very frustrating. I just don't understand. I sound like the old man get off my lawn. I don't understand people at that age who don't have a sense of commitment. You take a job, you stay for a while.
Rochelle wanted to say something, but you're on mute, Rochelle.
I see it very differently because I can see their point of view. They're in a position, I think what's going on with a lot of people that are coming into the workplace or relatively newer, let's just say under 10 years in the work market, they're there to get educated and get out. Because they don't feel that they have never felt a sense of loyalty from the employer to them. So therefore, they don't feel that they're loyal to the employer. If they need extra $5 raise, they say we don't have money, and they get capped on whatever. And the minute they change jobs, they get a $30,000 raise or a $10,000 raise. So I just find that these are like kids that I'm working, kids that are like they're younger in the companies that I am working with. And I also see it with kids of my friends. They feel that they've never worked with an employer that had their best interest in mind, that told them that we're going to work with you, we're going to increase your pay, we're going to educate you, we're going to invest in you, you're going to become. They didn't see a path to glory, so to speak. They didn't feel anything that the company was going to give to them. Therefore, they don't feel that there's any loyalty to the company. They feel, let me get as far as education, let me get my pay, my education, my lifestyle. Does the company give me the lifestyle? Companies are really.
James had something to add too.
Yeah.
They're interested in lifestyle. They don't want to work like animals anymore. I remember when I started in my, whatever, we worked crazy hours. Not anymore.
But it's not they. In 1993, Peter Drucker predicted this. He said that we are no longer in an age in which the means of production is owned by the business. The means of production exists between the ears of your employees, and they, therefore, from this time forward, are not your employees. They are volunteers who come and work for you. The volunteer as employee has met its moment, and the pandemic has awakened everybody to this underlying reality. So it is not just the millennials. It is everyone. And that's why we have the highest human resource turnover in 40 years. So if you're not ready to be much more than someone who hires people for pay, you're going to lose in this new economy in which absolutely everyone is a volunteer.
James, you used to have a number of employees. What are
I
you
have
doing?
I have 10. I have used employees who have left, like Amy described, or like Stacy described. I've done that for 20 years. I've always had employees who once worked for me, who still work for me from all parts of the world. And I have had poach attempts on my highest performing employees. I haven't lost anyone at this point. But the demand on me to make sure that I am doing much more than just hiring people for pay, and instead enriching their lives, setting them up for their future, and thinking of them as people who are volunteering their time on my behalf and for the sake of my clients. I think that's the new baseline.
Yeah, and I'll just really quickly add something really slight to that, is that one of the other things that's really become apparent to a lot of people because of working from home, what can I do with my skills and with my knowledge and with my time that somebody else will pay me for? And if you can produce that something, whatever that thing is, and sell it to somebody else, you are now no longer an employee. You are now an entrepreneur, and in that mindset, which means I'm not selling you my time anymore. I'm selling you a product. And that shift in and mentality and thinking is one of the reasons that there's such a huge demand for no skill jobs, because nobody wants to do them anymore. It's that simple. I can make more money sitting at home doing something I like, as opposed to digging a ditch or something. Then we'll screw the ditch.
Which is why Burger King is giving hiring bonuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Bryce, you have experience, right? You used to be in construction. Not that it's it does require.
I have literally digged a ditch, and believe you me, I hated that.
I just want to say, I'm going to leave in a minute because I have another meeting, but I have an employee. He's 24. He graduated Rutgers 2 years ago, and he said he loves it. Like he only looked at one school when he was looking for college. He only knew he wanted to go to Rutgers. So just because people are young doesn't mean that they don't want a commitment. I think everybody's different. And I agree with James, there are people out there that want something solid and consistent. And I try to take care of our employees, like you were saying, Bryce. I have employees and they do things that bring business in, and I compensate them and I take care of them. So one of our designers been there with us almost 8.5, 9 years now. So we do our best. Sometimes you do have people that come for a few months and leave or don't show up for an interview, but that happens all the time. So
But that's a gift. You should recognize that for the gift that it
I
is.
do, because it's good to know right up front.
Ricardo
I think-
Semler wrote a
think that-
wonderful essay in the 90s about it's titled "Why All My Former Employees Still Work for Me."
Yeah.
It's worth a read.
I like
think, though,
that. I'll check it.
that there is something transactional that they're not thinking of, which is when somebody leaves my company after 3 months, are they going to put that on their LinkedIn? Is somebody going to contact me for a recommendation? It's very difficult for me to give somebody a recommendation when they haven't stayed with me for what I would consider a minimum, which is a year. And so they are burning a bridge. And I think that these people are not considering that when they're trying to build their careers.
Yeah, there's perhaps a lot of short-sightedness. Anybody who hasn't spoken? Rafi, any thoughts? Or Mark or Ken?
I've had probably 50 employees throughout the past 20 plus years. I have encouraged my junior people to get jobs elsewhere, and I've been recommendations, and I haven't burnt those bridges. Now, those employees who were 24, 20 years ago, they're now in their 30s and 40s, which is crazy. We're friends now, and I get referrals all the time out of them. So it's a little bit of a shift in a mindset of where I am professionally today. I currently have 2 people that work for me. I used to have 12 people that work for me. And I make more money now than I've ever made in my life. So it's also business model together with, what you want to do professionally, et cetera, et cetera. That's my 2 cents.
Great.
The only thing I could add to that is, like, I just see with my kids, that they both changed jobs during the pandemic. And my oldest one, he's been with this company a year. He has because they've been working remotely, they have no identity or culture with the company. They have no fuel for the company. They have no allegiance to the company. He's he's been with this company for a year. He never really bonded with this manager of his who's hired after he joined. And he's looking for a new job. And he's pretty, he's relatively high up. And the thing is, he can get a $30,000 or $40,000, $50,000 raise based on the companies he's interviewing with now. And he would have stayed if this, but it's like there's no, I think the problem is the pandemic has exacerbated I'm not saying it right, but
Exacerbated.
Yeah, I can't talk at the end of the day, but it's sped up that the people don't feel any heavy culture with the companies or don't have any relationship with the manager. It's very hard to develop a relationship through Zoom, I think, with your manager, because you don't get the vibe for the office. My daughter just started a job and she's 100% remote, and she doesn't get, there's no office gossip. There's no, it's like you miss all that, so I think there's nothing to tie them together to a company right now.
No summer picnic.
Yeah, whatever.
or holiday party. Yeah, I do think that does make a difference. I mean, when you get to know somebody outside of the single dimension of your work relationship, that does build some bonds.
When I went into business for myself, the thing that I missed the most was, was the coffee cool, it was the water cooler coffee machine. Because, you'd go get a cup of coffee and say hello to somebody, chat for 2 minutes, then go back to your desk. And I just think working from home is very isolating. And I think if these are, younger people starting out with their first career to literally only do it virtually, I think that's pretty tough. And you'd have to be quite a charismatic manager to kind of bring them and onboard them so that they feel part of a team.
Think about it this way. The traditional in-person business setting was a de facto acculturation that encouraged people to settle, to be comfortable with what they had. What the pandemic has been is a grand experiment in self-reflection, and there's no longer the demand or the requirement or the conditions that are conducive to settling. So what Bryce was talking about, wait a second, why can't I just do this, what I want to do, and find some employer out there in the world? That's a very different dynamic. So the psychology of this has fundamentally shifted, and I don't think it's going to quickly snap back.
Right. So yeah, I mean, the fact that you can now hire anybody in the United States or certainly around the world, and you could also find an employer around the world. It's certainly changing the landscape. Listen, we are pretty much at the top of the hour. Thank you all for contributing, introducing yourselves. If you do know anybody who you think would benefit from being a part of this group, part of the Trusted Referral Network, send them my way. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing in Amy. Really appreciate that. She and I connected many years ago, but it's always nice to reconnect, and hopefully she'll find some value here. Even though she's a direct competitor of mine, that's perfectly fine. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Have a
Everyone.
wonderful day and a great
Good night.
holiday weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.